Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy. Without any further interruptions, enjoy the What If. Chapter 1. Back to the past. Everything was dark. He had failed. Things were not supposed to become like this. All his training, his friendship with Kurama and all other tailed beasts, all the efforts of himself and the whole Shinobi Alliance, they were supposed to win, they were meant to go on, to defeat the mad Uchiha duo and to stop the Jubi from destroying the world. But yet, despite all those things, they still lost. Madara Uchiha had won. All of their efforts were wasted. All his friends, all who cared for him were murdered by the wicked power of that revived bastard. And Madara was only short of one more thing to complete the Jubi again and become what he had deceived the poor Obito for a very long time in order to achieve, a god. Yes, Kurama was still inside Naruto. But not for long. Soon, his newest friend would be ripped off from his body and become a part of that monster Shinju again. Everything of the few last hours flashed through his mind. He remembered Kakashi's Sharingan being ripped off his left eye socket as he fell and died under Madara's Susanoo sword. He remembered the souls of the 4 revived Hokage being pulled away by the shadow clones with Rinnegan. He remembered Hinata and Sakura being impaled by an incredibly sharp root when trying to pull him out of the roots that were restraining him and sucking away his chakra. He remembered Sasuke's Susanoo being shattered and the man himself being vaporized when trying to prevent a combined tailed beast bomb from the Sharingan-controlled tailed beasts from hitting a completely exhausted Naruto sprawling on the ground. Everyone, they sacrificed their lives to protect him, to allow him the chance to destroy Madara once and for all, and he failed them. He closed his eyes. Maybe if he had just given up from the beginning, this wouldn't have happened. So you decided to just give up like that. It's not like you, Naruto. He opened his eyes again. He was in the white room from before, and Kurama and all other tailed beasts were standing before him, looking down at him. Normally, he would have asked how they were able to meet again, but right now, it was not important anymore. Nothing was important anymore. Why shouldn't I give up? Everyone is gone. Madara has captured all of you. We lost. Naruto sighed heavily. All his energy seemed to be drained. He was flicked in the forehead by a tentacle of Gyuki. Idiot. We haven't lost yet. Everyone out there is still fighting. Everyone sacrificed their lives because they believe that you shall be able to defeat Madara, not for you to sulk and give up like this. If you, Naruto, of all people, lose hope, there is nothing we can do anymore. But what can I do now? All my friends are gone, the Shinobi Alliance is being destroyed. I don't know what I'm fighting for anymore. With those last words, Naruto collapsed on his knees, and for the first time in many years, he cried. All of his anger, sorrow, regret, despair and pain, everything he held in his heart seemed to have exploded and added to the stream of tears. You know, surprisingly, it was Shukaku who raised the voice. It was different from the way Naruto had known the beast for, it was sane. I don't quite understand much about you humans, but to me, if you hate someone, even if I cannot defeat him, I would try my best to make sure that whatever he was planning won't be able to work. I don't like you quite much, but I admired you for daring to stand up against me during that battle in the past. If I hadn't, I would have made Gaara destroy your little village when he finally became Kazekage. Nice idea, Shuki-chan. Chome chirped in. Even in this situation, the beetle could still keep her cheerful personality. Shukaku shot her a glare of annoyance at the nickname. But how can I do it? Madara must have begun Kurama's extraction for quite some time. Now I cannot even move. Son Goku's eyes gleamed. You know that you are not alone in this, right? The extraction is nearly completed. Soon, the Jubi, and this world shall be mine to control. Madara's Rinnegan flashed hungrily when the red chakra of Kurama continuously flown into the mouth of Geto Mazo. Just a little more time, and his dream shall become true. Suddenly, the statue and the ground started to rumble. What the? Madara startled, his concentration on the sealing technique faltered. What's happening? Cracks started to appear on the body of the Jubi. From within, lights and chakra could be seen flowing out. No, this is not supposed to happen, Madara cried desperately, pumping more of his chakra into the sealing jutsu, but all was in vain. Loud booming started to rise from inside the statue, and all of Geto Mazo's eyes snapped open and it screeched as if it was in excruciating pain. Oh she. Then everything went white. If there's something Naruto hated so much, it was being woken up suddenly in the middle of the night on an extremely uncomfortable bed. His whole body was throbbing with pain. That nightmare was too incredibly real. And it's also strange and horrible, too. He could still remember quite clearly about his friends dying, his failure at beating Madara, the tailed beasts talking to him and a huge explosion. He groaned and burrowed his face deeper into the pillow. He didn't want to remind himself about that terrible dream anymore. Except there was no pillow at all. He was lying on a pile of straw in a shack, standing in the middle of what seemed to be the forest outside of Konoha. And in his arms was a big papery cylinder thing. What the? Naruto screamed and jumped out of the makeshift bed he was lying on. Then he realized, what the hell is wrong with my voice? His voice was now exactly what it was when he was 12. Well, he muttered, Kurama had better have a good explanation for this. Hey Kurama, what the heck is going on here? Naruto's sweat dropped as his eyes stared at the bizarre scene in his mindscape. Inside the cage was a clusterfuck. As he could count, there were 9 heads and a whole bunch of tails, tentacles, goo, wings, whatever. And they seemed to be struggling hard against each other. Hey, stop pulling my tails. Get your tentacles off my butt, you perverted ox. Ack, your tail, you're strangling me. My wings, you're crushing my wings, so heavy. If this hadn't been an urgent situation, this would have been a very funny scene. What is happening here? Why are you guys all inside of me? And where are we anyway? After a while, Naruto had enough. He exploded. His voice drew the attention of the creatures behind the bars. Ah, Naruto, the fox head cried out in relief. A little help here, please. Naruto's left eyebrow twitched. Couldn't you just, shrink yourself, or transform into something smaller and easier to get out? Ah, all the heads nodded slowly. Good point. After some more struggles, and a huge puff of smoke, Naruto was now sitting on the damp floor of his mindscape, facing all 9-tailed beasts who were each in the size of a grown-up Akamaru. So, care to explain? Naruto looked at the beasts inside the cage. Well, it's just a little accident, you see, Kurama started. What do you mean, a little accident? Naruto asked, raising an eyebrow. Well, you see, Kokuo, the 5 tails, began. You remember that we left quite a lot of our chakra inside you when we bumped our fists, right? Turns out that the more powerful we are, the stronger the chains binding us inside the Jubi's body are. Therefore, when we were absorbed back into that statue, those chains became significantly weaker, and a normal-tailed beast bomb was enough to break us free from the binding. I see, Naruto nodded in understanding. But that doesn't explain why. I was getting there, the 5 tails stopped him. After that we were able to talk with you again, remember? Then, that knucklehead over there, he pointed one of his tails towards Goku, who scratched his head sheepishly, decided to break us free with another combined tailed beast bomb. I told them it would be dangerous, but sadly, no one listened, except for me and little Saikyo here. He rubbed the 6 tails head with another tail. So we did it anyway, and the Jubi's body was completely obliterated. So the Jubi's body was destroyed, Naruto nodded again. That's good, right? Yes, but, well, Kokuo suddenly hesitated. You know that the Jubi was the god tree, the source of all chakra in the world, right? When it was destroyed, all the chakra from inside it exploded in an instant with an extremely powerful force, and it somehow ripped us from that timeline and sent us back to the past. And it also pushed us into the seal in your stomach. Ooh, so that's why I have my 12-year-old voice, and why I was holding the forbidden scroll out there. We were sent back to the day I graduated from the academy. Naruto exclaimed in realization. But then, something crossed his mind. But what about the others? Did they get sent back to the past, too? The tailed beasts shared a worried and regretful look. Naruto, Gyuki said, a blast with enough power to send one back to the past will reduce everything to light particles. Not even Madara's strongest Susanoo could survive that explosion. It is incredibly lucky that you have us, otherwise you would have been erased from existence together with Madara and everything else. About the others, I'm afraid there's nothing you can do for them anymore, Naruto. Naruto's shoulders slumped. So in the end, it was nothing different. He still couldn't save anyone. He couldn't do anything to protect the people he loved. Tears started to well up in his eyes again, rolling down his cheeks and silently dropping into the already soaking ground. Then he felt something warm and fluffy wrapping around him. He raised his head, and saw Kurama embracing him with her red tails. It's true, Naruto, that you have failed them. But think, if you really feel that bad about it, then this is your chance to redeem yourself. We're in the past, when everything hadn't happened yet. Work hard, and stop Madara from completing his plan in this timeline. Protect everyone you love this time. Don't let them die meaninglessly like before. Besides, she added with a chuckle, look around you. This time you are not alone. You have us together with you now, and we are friends. Friends are supposed to help each other, right? Right. This time we're with you, Naru-kun. That Madara guy will not be able to ruin the future we create together anymore. Chome added cheerily. Naruto looked at all the beasts around him, his eyes widened. Every one of them was looking back at him with trusting and encouraging eyes. Well, except for Saikyo and Chome, they don't have eyes anyway. A feeling of warmth suddenly bloomed in his heart, and he felt happy and stronger than ever. He smiled, wiping tears away from his eyes, and stood up. Thank you everyone. This time, I swear I will not fail. He raised his hand, and they bumped their fists again, strengthening the bond between them once more. Good job, my dear. Now go. Kurama pushed her Jinchurikis back. There is one person who needs to be saved by you right now. When Naruto faded away from their view, Matabi looked at Kurama. I can't believe even you can become motherly, Ne-san. Hey, the vixen chuckled. Even I can't believe it myself, either. Mizuki was smirking. Right after he finished this annoyance of an academy teacher, he would go find the demon brat, take the forbidden scroll from him and bring him together with it to Orochimaru-sama. Then he would become a sound ninja, and gain the power and fame he couldn't get being a mere teacher in Konoha. His train of thought was interrupted rudely when a foot landed on his face, sending him crashing into a tree nearby. I'll kill you for hurting Iruka-sensei. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. Mizuki's eyes widened in horror when the forest was filled, literally, with thousands of Naruto. Now, ready to die, bastard. The army of Naruto grinned wickedly while cracking their knuckles. Mizuki gulped. I'm screwed, am I? Yes. The whole army echoed before pummeling the poor traitor to the ground. Iruka was appalled seeing Naruto performed a forbidden ninjutsu in such a large scale. Not only that, the boy didn't even show any sign of fatigue after releasing the jutsu. And he defeated a Chunin-level shinobi just by himself. He smiled weakly. You have really become strong, Naruto. You might even surpass the third, no, all the past Hokages someday. Heh. Guess I might have overdone it a bit. Naruto grinned sheepishly, while dragging a mess of flesh and bones called Mizuki along towards Iruka. The older man smiled, and waved him. Leave that, Naruto. Come here and close your eyes. This was it. This was the time. Naruto could not ever forget this, even until the last day of his life. Congratulations, Naruto. You're officially a genin of Konohagakure. Once again in 2 days, or who knows how many days had passed, Naruto began to cry his heart out, this time on the chest of the older man. Chapter 2. Back to the start. Wow, this photo was quite good, actually. I almost didn't recognize you in that new outfit. Hey, I had to retake it a few times, Gigi. Naruto answered the old Hokage with a foxy grin. He was standing in Konoha's shinobi registration room with Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, and his secretary, after taking the photos for his ID registration. The old man was smiling at him, while stamping the document which contained his CV in the photo. See, Naruto-kun, I told you changing your clothes would be a good thing for you. Yeah, I know. But I still don't like very much. It doesn't have much orange on it, Mata-chan. His face twisted oddly when the two-tailed cat blew a raspberry at him in his mind. His new attire included a dark blue pair of trousers with orange flame-like stripes at the tip of the cuffs, a pair of fingerless gloves together with 2 medium-sized steel bangles, and a black sleeveless shirt which hugged tightly around his chest and torso, showing off his rather well-built body. His headband was tied firmly on his forehead. Naruto didn't notice it, But all the training he had done in the past actually did make his body a site of attraction to any girls who saw it. Which was none, because he always hid it under the bizarre orange jumpsuit. That explains why only the Hyuga girl showed interest in you. X-ray eyes and everything. Ah, shut up. It's all thanks to Matabi when he first figured out the way to make the beasts appeared out of his body. 2 days ago. You know what, this is kind of boring for you guys, right? My imagination was not quite good, anyway. Naruto said while standing together with Kurama in his new mindscape. The dark and dirty sewer, is my mind really that dirty? Was gone, replaced by an endless lushful green meadow with a river running across, a range of mountains at the horizon, blue sky with the sun shining brightly, and standing in the middle was a sakura tree which was as big as the Hokage monument. Kurama sighed. This is quite alright. It's much better than staying in that sewer. You know, never before have I got a Jinchuriki who bothered to do this for me. I appreciate it. She scratched the seal on her neck, which now formed a leather collar with the kanji of seal written on it. Although it might be better if this was a necklace or something. Naruto looked at the vixen and smiled. After receiving her yin half back from his father, the fox seemed to mellow out quite a lot. Well, but I don't want to leave you guys in here all the time. He insisted, then pouted. If only I could do something to let you guys out there for a while. I think you can, Oni-chan. The two turned back to see Saikyo standing, crawling. Whatever, behind them. The slug seemed to blush a bit when Kurama and Naruto's eyes stared at her. When I was with Utakata Ni-chan, he used this jutsu to bring me out there for a walk, sometimes. Really? But do you know how to do it, Saikyo? Well, he just crossed his fingers, and my soul and some of my chakra were pulled out, and I'm outside. Cross fingers. Where have I heard it before? Naruto's eyes suddenly widened in realization. It is the shadow clone jutsu. But, his eyes squinted, how can the shadow clone jutsu get you out? Because the shadow clone contains a part of its creator's soul when it is created. Naruto jumped. He didn't realize Kokuo standing next to him since who knew. You see, Kokuo explained, unlike a normal clone jutsu, a shinobi cannot perform tangible clone jutsu without some kind of blueprint and catalyst as a base. In the shadow clone's case, a part of your own soul is both the blueprint and the catalyst. That part of your soul stays in the clone as it exists, and returns to you when the clone disappears. That's the reason why the clone has a personality, which is yours, takes the form of yourself, and returns its memories and experiences to you when it disperses. Therefore, instead of your soul, if you use another soul and chakra to perform the technique, such as ours, you will be able to send us out as shadow clones, and it takes whatever forms we want it to be. He stopped, seeing the long face of Naruto. You didn't understand anything, did you? Naruto nodded dumbly. The five-tailed horse facepalmed. Next time, try to simplify your speech, Kurama chimed in. Naruto cannot understand anything longer than 50 words. Naruto pouted. That's so mean. Tailed beast shadow clone jutsu. Smoke filled the entire room, then dispersed, revealing 9 figures standing in front of Naruto. But they were not the tailed beasts. At least, not anymore. Instead, there were 5 girls and 4 guys. And they looked definitely human to Naruto. Isobu, Chome and Matabi simply chose a form that looked similar to their ex-Jinchuriki, albeit with some distinctive features. Isobu's eyes, instead of a blank purple like Yagura's, were brown and spirited, his gray hair was spiky similar to the head of his beast form, and there was no scar on his face. Chome's hair, instead of mint green like Fu's, had a brilliant saffron shade with some red streak and a ponytail. And Matabi looked like a twin of Yugito, except for her bright blue hair and a rounder chin. However, Naruto almost facepalmed when he saw the other tailed beasts in their human forms. Shukaku took the form of a teenage girl with tomboyish sandy hair tied into a ponytail on the back of her head. She wore a sleeveless white top which looked suspiciously like a sport bra, showing off her bare midriff and navel, and a very provoking pair of jeans which couldn't hide anything, just enough to cup her round ass and not make it look like a pair of panties. But with her rather flat chest, the cute big yellow eyes and the constant scowl on her face which looked suspiciously like a pout, she looked just like a little girl who was trying in vain to become sexy. Son Goku's form looked like it was ripped off from a certain shonen martial art manga. His hair had the same shade of red as his fur in beast form, but so spiky it seemed to be at the level of impossible. His body was tall and muscular, and he wore a sleeveless orange and blue set of martial art gi, showing off his well-built arms, with a blue belt and a pair of boots. But the weirdest thing in his body was a tail behind his butt instead of four, which wrapped around his waist like a furry belt. Kokuos was a middle-aged man with white short hair spiked at the back similar to his horns in his beast form. His outfit was simple: a gray jacket and a pair of khaki trousers, together with a pair of sandals, which looked kind of weird for a know-it-all like him. The truth was, Naruto couldn't look at him without imagining him in a blue suit with a red tie on his neck. Saikyo appeared in the form of a young girl. Being a slug in beast form, she let her snowy white, ground-touching long hair drop down her forehead as a straight bang, partly hiding her ruby-red eyes from view. Her white dress and purple long-sleeved shirt made her already pale skin even paler. She exuded a regal and ladylike aura. It's cute, but somewhat scary. It's just like she was an 18-year-old woman stuffed into the body of a child. And she called him Oni-chan. Naruto almost shuddered at the thought. Gyuki, surprisingly, was the most normal. He became a tan and bald man with a black, short beard that screamed, badass, and a muscular body that could not be mistaken from a professional wrestling champion. He wore a black sleeveless tight shirt and a pair of black jeans with a pair of sunglasses. On his right arm, extended from his shoulder, was a strange tattoo that looked like a complex ceiling array of some sort. Whether that or maybe it's just for decoration, Naruto didn't know. Finally, Kurama donned the form of a beautiful woman with short pink hair tied into a big ponytail by a blue ribbon behind her head. She wore a sleeve-detached blue and black traditional yukata-like dress with no neck and only 2 pieces of blue cloth covering her front and behind, revealing her white thighs and her rather bountiful cleavage. Her long, smooth legs were hidden under a pair of long blue stockings. And a pair of orange fox ears and a fluffy tail sprouted out of her head and butt. Note to self, Naruto thought, half of the tailed beasts are otaku freaks. Wow, it worked better than I thought, Kurama said, rubbing her newly acquired D-cup breasts, giving poor Isobu a nosebleed and a slap on the back of his head by Matabi. So cute. Chome squealed like a fangirl, and squeezed Kurama in a crushing glomp, making the fox girl flailing her arms hysterically. Can't breathe. Yeah, that's cute, Matabi sighed, reaching out her hand to pry Kurama out of Chome's crushing grip, but you can't go outside looking like this, Nei-san. But this looks good on me, Kurama protested. Yeah, but the ears and tail, the cat girl pointed out while facepalming. Kurama pouted, making Naruto shuddered, snapped her fingers, and the fox ears and tail disappeared. By the way, Naruto-kun, Matabi continued, I won't let you go anywhere with those silly orange clothes on your body. She wagged a finger at him, while her other hand planted firmly on her hip. Naruto pouted, but I like orange. That will have to change too. I'll not allow my Jinchuriki to wear such hideous clothes as long as I'm here. The cat turned human glared at him, not noticing Goku shouting, hey! Don't diss the orange, at her back. Well, too bad, Naruto shrugged. It's not like I have any other clothes, anyway. Matabi's eyes gleamed dangerously. Naruto suddenly felt scared. He noticed a similar gleam in Shukaku's, Kurama's, Chome's and Saikyo's eyes. What? And that's the reason why Naruto was standing in front of the third Hokage right now, wearing new outfits that made him almost unrecognizable in the eyes of people who used to know him. He could swear he heard Gama-chan in his pocket crying because of her emptiness. The first time Naruto saw Sarutobi, he had to do his best to refrain himself from jumping him and giving him a bone-crushing hug. The man was like a real grandfather to him. He had been the only person in the village, besides Iruka-sensei, Tsuki and Ayame, who hadn't thought of him as a demon and a failure when he was young. And he was the first one to die protecting the village in Naruto's life. The last time Naruto saw him, the old Hokage was a corpse revived by Orochimaru, and he had to watch his soul being ripped off his body right in front of him, without being able to do anything to help. Despite being able to restrain his body, he couldn't help shedding a drop of tears. Here Naruto, your registration is completed. Remember to go to your classroom at 8 a.m. tomorrow to hear your team selection, alright? The Hokage gave Naruto his stamped registration with a smile. He grinned back, and nodded. Speaking of team selection, it should be right. Old man, fight me. The Hokage seat is mine today. Now, Konohamaru jumped into the room, shuriken on his hand, and tripped on his scarf. Just like old time, Naruto rolled his eyes. Ow, that hurt, Konohamaru whined, while rubbing his bruised forehead. Then he noticed Naruto. Hey, you tripped me, didn't you? Naruto's left eyebrow twitched. You tripped on your own, idiot. He deadpanned. Hey, no one talked to me like that. With that, Konohamaru jumped at Naruto, intending to punch him in the face. But Naruto easily sidestepped the boy, then grabbed his outstretched arm and twisted it to his back. Right on cue, the teacher of Konohamaru, Ebisu, jumped into the room. Hey, let go of him, brat. He is Hokage-sama's grandson. Konohamaru glared at Naruto. Now that he knows who I am, he can't do anything to me, peef, he's just the same as everyone. But that only made Naruto's eyebrow twitch harder. You think I give a damn, moron. Crunch. Even after all those years, he still found the whole Hokage-sama's grandson thing annoying. Naruto held out his right hand, and tried to make a Rasengan. It's worth mentioning that, before the Fourth Shinobi World War, he had finally managed to complete the jutsu, and now he could do it with one hand, just like Jiraiya and his father. The chakra spun around his palm, focused, and exploded on his face. Aarrrrrgh. Naruto screamed when his body was thrown away like a ragdoll and slammed into a tree nearby. Damn it, what's happening? This is gonna be a problem. Hey, Naruto, try to make it with a shadow clone like you used to do before. From inside his head, Kurama suggested worriedly. Naruto nodded, and made a shadow clone. He started to focus his chakra into his palm, while the clone spun it. It exploded even more violently, sending him and the clone crashing into the tree again. Oh dear, Kurama, what's happening to me? Naruto asked in panic. I'm sorry Naruto, your chakra control was completely ruined. The vixen sighed, and Naruto's face twisted into a horror gape. What? How? Why? He screamed to the sky, scaring a flock of pigeons hiding in a bush nearby, and a certain little boy who was hiding behind a large tree. I'm not here. Crap, I said that out loud, didn't I? The vixen in his head rolled her eyes, and started to explain. Naruto, you remember that when you graduated, your chakra control was abysmal, right? Well, I think when we're thrown back to the past, your body was also reverted back to that state. Plus, she added, after a brief thought, now you contain not only me, but all 9 of us tailed beasts. That means your reserves should be, say, at least 9 times larger than you had in the, well, our past. Truth is, I'm surprised that your body didn't explode because of chakra overload. Must be an Uzumaki thing, I guess, Kokuo suggested. I heard that the Uzumaki clan was famous for their incredible stamina and life force. Besides, it's not like no one has ever contained all of us before. Did you forget Otu-san? But that means all my skills are down the toilet. Naruto wailed mentally, and the bell test of Kakashi-sensei is in 2 days. What do I do? Anime tears started to pour out of his eyes like 2 small streams. Then start training, you idiot. Kurama chided him. Don't you realize that you're wasting your time crying? Oh, and someone has been following you for almost an hour. Ah, I forgot. Stop hiding and come out here, Konohamaru. From behind the great tree, the grandson of the third peeked out. As expecting of my boss. You noticed me right away, he exclaimed, jumping out of his hiding spot. What are you doing here, Konohamaru? Naruto asked. Didn't you go back with that Ebisu guy? Nah, he sucked. You're way cooler than him, boss. Konohamaru shook his head. Hey boss, please teach me that sexy jutsu you used to defeat the old man. Naruto had heard this request before. This time, he couldn't help but broke into laughter. Why do you want to learn it? It's just a joke, you know. Honestly, I didn't think the old man was such a pervert, Naruto said after finally calming himself down. It doesn't matter, I need to learn it to defeat him. Konohamaru shouted. Then I'll become Hokage. If I can do that, everyone will acknowledge me. The boy's rant was stopped by Naruto's fingers poking his forehead. Idiot. If being Hokage was that easy, everyone would be Hokage. The Hokage hat only belongs to the best shinobi. You don't become Hokage for people to acknowledge you, you become Hokage because people acknowledge you. So, he flashed a smile which looked disturbingly similar to that of a certain green beast of Konoha. Work hard, and gain everyone's respect first. But that will take too long. Konohamaru protested. Besides, Ebisu-sensei didn't teach me anything good. Then you can train with me. Naruto grinned. You think there is a shortcut to becoming Hokage? If you want to become one, you have to train your ass out, just like me. Now let's get to training, we don't have all day. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Konohamaru's eyes widened when a dozen of Naruto's appeared on the training field. Then he grinned. Yosh, I'm not gonna lose to you, boss. Hey boss, I finally made it to the branch. Hehehe. Damn it, even Konohamaru is better than me now. Bam, crash, crash, damn, I still can't get it. Naruto climbed out of the hole he had made when drilling his face on the dirt after blasting off his tree again. Konohamaru, who was now already on a pretty high branch, laughed. Ha ha ha, I beat you, boss. Just you wait, brat. Naruto yelled back, I'll catch up to you right now. Unknown to the two spirited boys, two pairs of eyes were watching them from afar, at the other side of the training ground. Wah, that's Ebisu, who was gaping like an idiot as Naruto was teaching Konohamaru better than he could ever did. It's okay, Ebisu. Even I can't believe it, either. And that's the third Hokage, who was patting the poor special Junin's shoulder while frowning. There is really something very wrong with Naruto today. Chapter 3. Team 7, again. Hey, is that Naruto? No way, when did he become so hot? He looks even better than Sasuke. Peef, there's no way he could be cooler than Sasuke-kun. Right. Naruto groaned, and slammed his head on the table. It's all your fault, Mata-chan. Now I'm going to have fangirls. You have just overestimated yourself there, dude, Gyuki chuckled. Fangirls, Naruto could feel Isobu shudder in his mind. They're a nightmare. Remind me of the time Yagura became Mizukage. What, Yagura had fangirls? Duh, you think he's always the homicidal maniac who wants to destroy bloodlines. Before Madara got a grip on him, he was quite a popular boy. Genius, handsome, just like the duck ass over there. Naruto was in his classroom, waiting for the team assignment. It had been too long since he last sat in this room. Everything was still the same, from the board, the tables to his classmates. This time, he carefully chose a seat far away from Sasuke. He did not want to experience his first kiss once more. But you liked it, Kurama sang inside his head. Naruto gagged mentally. That's disgusting, Kurama, I told you to never remind me of that again. But there was no way his tenants would leave him alone with that. I almost forgot about this. Is he a good kisser? Chome chimed in, obviously interested, much to Naruto's horror. Oh, you don't even know anything, Kurama grinned evilly. Damn you, Kurama, Naruto shouted in his mind, while his face reddened in the real world. The 5 girls in his head giggled. Sigh, girls are so troublesome, Goku drawled, and then yelped as Matabi bonked him on his head. Speaking of Sasuke, the boy was sitting at the desk 5 row down from his, in his, emo mode, as Naruto preferred to call. Looking at him, Naruto's stomach felt twisted up. The images of Sasuke's defect, the battle at the Valley of the End, their meeting at Orochimaru's hideout, the battle at the Samurai Bridge, Sasuke sacrificing himself to protect him from Madara, everything rushed back into his head like a tsunami, and he had to try his best to stop himself from collapsing and bawling like a baby again. This time, I won't let that happen. Believe it. Sasuke seemed to notice Naruto staring at him. He scoffed, and turned away. The mood was ruined immediately. HMPH, ungrateful bastard, Naruto huffed in his mind, which earned a giggle from the girls inside his head. Loud stomping noises started to rise from the corridor outside. It must be Sakura and Ino, battling for the seat next to Sasuke, again. 3, 2, 1. Crash. And there they are. Ha, I win, pig, Sakura declared triumphantly, laughing at Ino who was gasping for breath next to her. Both their hair were tattered and their clothes were messed up, maybe because of the catfight when they were in the corridor. But when Sakura saw Sasuke-kun, her hair and clothes went back to their perfect condition in a blink, and she screamed like a banshee. And how did she do that again? Who knows? Maybe some kind of genjutsu, or even magic. Well, at least this time he didn't receive any of Sakura's monstrous punches, or any kiss from Sasuke. First of all, I want to congratulate you all for passing the graduation exam. Iruka started. From now on, all of you are shinobi of the Hidden Leaves village. A loud round of applause rose up from the students. However, Iruka continued, you are still only genin, which is the lowest class of shinobi in the village. You have to perform duties for the village, gather experiences and skills in order to be promoted to higher ranks. So today, you will be assigned into 3-man teams, and each team will have a Junin sensei. You will follow that sensei's instructions as you complete the missions you were assigned. And now, I will announce the members of each team. Now, Team 1. But Naruto didn't hear Iruka anymore. His eyes were sweeping around, catching the image of all his old friends, the Rookie 9. The ones who had always fought beside him. The ones who had offered their own lives to protect him. The ones whom he always considered his precious people. And the ones he had failed to protect. Sakura and Ino were still annoying. Shikamaru was still lazy. Choji was still munching constantly on his chips. Kiba was still loud. Shino was still calm and stoic. And Hinata, well, still shy as always. They're all just like he could remember. As if it was just yesterday, when they were all together, working together on rebuilding the village, fighting besides each other against Obito and Madara. Team 7. Naruto Uzumaki, Sakura Haruno, and Sasuke Uchiha. The Jonin sensei is Kakashi Hatake. Team 8. Suddenly snapped out of his trance, Naruto looked around in confusion. Did you say something? Oh. At the memorial stone in Training Ground 7, a certain silver-haired masked Jonin sneezed violently. Oh. Iruka facefaulted. He chose to ignore it, and repeated. I said Naruto, you're together with Sasuke and Sakura, and your Jonin sensei is Kakashi Hatake. Now, as I was saying before being interrupted by Naruto, he continued, Team 8 consists of Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka and Shino Aburame, and their Jonin sensei is Kurenai Uehi. Team 9, he flipped the list over and over. Now where the hell is Team 9 in here? Must be a mistake in numbering. Anyway, Team 10 consists of Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akamichi and Ino Yamanaka. Jonin sensei. Asuma Sarutobi. He closed his list and smiled. That's all. Once more, congratulations on becoming genin, everyone. Now why don't you take a lunch break before meeting your Jonin sensei? Dismiss. Hey Sasuke, Sakura, want to have lunch with me? Naruto said when everyone started to go out for lunch. Sasuke just hined and turned away. Sakura gagged in disgust, and ran after Sasuke, leaving the poor Naruto alone in the classroom. Well, at least you did try. Kurama pacified the boy awkwardly when his head slumped in disappointment. That bitch, how dare she doing that to Naru-kun? Chome exclaimed angrily. That no good, selfish, barbarian Uchiha-loving whore. When I get my hand on her. It's all right Chome-chan. I know she didn't mean it, mostly. Well, I'll just eat with you guys instead. Want to try some Ichiraku ramen? Naruto grinned, receiving a nod of approval from everyone in his head. But right before he could step out of the classroom, a masked Anbu shunshed right in front of him, and grabbed his hand. Genin Uzumaki, the Hokage wants you in his office immediately. I'm instructed to escort you to him. Naruto was confused. What did Gigi want to do with him at this time? Naruto Uzumaki has arrived, Hokage-sama. Good job, Neko. Let him in. Said Anbu opened the door, and pushed Naruto into the room. I can walk by myself, you know, he glared back. The Anbu member just stood there quietly, ignoring Naruto's protest. Sarutobi cleared his throat. Naruto turned back. Ah, Gigi, he smiled. What do you want from me? His voice trailed off when he saw two other people in the room. Shikaku Nara and Inoichi Yamanaka. Sit, Naruto. The voice of the Hokage seemed harder than usual. What's wrong, Gigi? Did I do something wrong? Naruto asked worriedly, his eyes darting across Shikaku and Inoichi. And what are Shikaku-san and Inoichi-san doing here? Oh god, don't tell me you're going to throw me into jail. That painting in the Hokage monument is just a joke, I swear. He finished in panic. The Hokage sighed, and rubbed his nose bridge. It's nothing like that, I just want to talk to you about something, Naruto. Then his voice hardened again. Naruto, tell me the truth. What happened to you the last few days? There's nothing wrong with me. Naruto lied nervously, hoping the Hokage would catch it. He didn't. Naruto, I'm the one who had been taking care of you for 10 years, I know your personality and your abilities just like my own hands. The professor narrowed his eyes. The fact that you knew and completed the tree climbing exercise, an exercise meant for a graduated genin, proves that there is something fishy going on. Now tell me, Naruto, or I'm afraid I have to force it out of you. I think you should tell them, Naruto. Kurama, are you sure? Yeah, I didn't want anyone to know about this, but if we don't tell them now, I'm afraid they will gut you right in place. Just tell them not to mention it to anyone else. Kurama said, thinking about Danzo. I don't think other people would take it so good, at least I can feel these guys are trustworthy. Okay. Naruto sighed in defeat. I'll tell you. But first, Gigi, can you tell everyone in this room to get out and seal it? Oh, Shikaku-san and Inoichi-san can stay, he added when the two men started to protest. The Hokage hesitated, but finally nodded. 3 Anbu appeared from their hiding spots and flickered away. After all Anbu were removed from their position, Sarutobi's hands weaved through hand seals, and a barrier was erected, isolating the room from the world outside. It's done. Now Naruto, tell us. Well, it might sound absurd, but, Naruto took a deep breath. I'm from the future. That was the most absurd story I've ever heard in my life. I know, Gigi. Even I couldn't believe it myself when I first heard it. After Naruto finished his story, the eyebrows of the 3 older men in the room were twitching like crazy. So, let's recap, Inoichi asked with a strained voice. You fought a man assumed to be Madara Uchiha, got captured, having the Kyuubi extracted from your body, and then somehow all 9-tailed beasts escaped from their container, squeezed themselves into your body, and pushed you back to the past. He is Madara Uchiha, but yeah, that's basically the story. Naruto answered with a nod. And you expect us to believe that bullshit? The older blonde man snapped at Naruto. Madara Uchiha has been dead for half a century. He was killed by the first Hokage in the battle at the Valley of the End. And there is no way a human body can handle the chakra of all 9-tailed beasts. And time travel, oh please, like that can ever happen. But I'm telling the truth. Why don't you guys believe me? Naruto snapped back, his voice was full of irritation. Well, even to me, that story was too unbelievable to be the truth. Not helping, Kurama, actually, there is a simple way to confirm his identity. All 3 other males turned to Shikaku. Well, Hokage-sama, you are the one who is closest to Naruto since he was born, right? So just ask him something only you and Naruto know about. If he can answer it right, then he is the real Naruto. The pineapple head man shrugged lazily. Silence. Tell me again, how the heck didn't I think of something like that? Because it's such a drag. The Nara man shrugged again. Okay Naruto, the old Hokage asked, after a sheepish moment. What did I give you in your 10th birthday? What did you gave me? Naruto squinted his eyes, trying to remember. Oh, I know, that's Gamma-chan, I have her right here. He reached down his weapon pouch and pulled out the toad-shaped wallet. Oh, and you also gave me exactly 365 free coupons for Ichiraku ramen. Free ramen for a year. Sarutobi facepalmed. Yes, he is Naruto. Only Naruto could remember the amount of ramen coupons he spends each year. But that still doesn't prove what he said was right, Inoichi protested, then insisted. I request a memory check on him. I don't think that's a good idea. Wait, Naru-kun, just let him do it. The voice of Chome suddenly rose in Naruto's head. What are you trying to do? Naruto asked back warily. There was obviously something not right here. Oh, you'll see. The beetle chuckled, evilly. A chill started to creep on Naruto's spine. You're not going to harm him, are you? He's my friend's dad. I'll not allow you guys to harm him. Naruto yelled in his mind in panic. Oh please, we're not going to do anything harmful to him. She snorted back to him. Permanently. I heard that, but Naruto couldn't say anything more, because Inoichi had already had his hand over his head. After a minute, the man let out a girlish scream and slumped to the ground. All the other men in the room suddenly cringed and felt an intense urge to cover their crotch. A roar of laughter echoed through Naruto's head. What have you guys done to him? Naruto mentally screamed in horror. Oh nothing, Shukaku answered between snickers. Just gave him the best wedgie I've ever done. Another roar of laughter. You guys are so cruel. He's telling the truth, Inoichi gasped out, his voice full of pain and humiliation. Oh. So it is true that you are now the Jinchuriki of all nine-tailed beasts, huh Naruto? Sarutobi asked when Inoichi finally managed to stand up, while mumbling about something suspiciously sounding like, cursed bully demons. I assume you can fully control them, right? Well, yeah, but I won't use the word, control, Gigi. They were my friends, my partners, and I will never force them to give me their power against their wills. Naruto chuckled. Ah, Naru-kun, we love you. The cringing returned with full force. This is a very crucial matter, Naruto, the old Hokage said in a very serious tone. You do understand that if this piece of information leaks out, there will be wars, don't you? Naruto nodded. Of course I do, Gigi. That's why I asked you to kick everyone out and seal up the room. But why did you let us know? Me and Inoichi, I mean. It's not like we have any close relationship with you before, Shikaku suddenly asked. Well, Naruto scratched his head. It's because I think you two are trustworthy, being the Hokage's tactical advisors and everything. Even Kyuubi thought so. Besides, if you aren't here, then how can I prove to Gigi that I'm telling the truth? Still, the old Hokage's voice rose again. To prevent anything that could happen, I hereby declare everything mentioned in this room today shall be treated as an EX-ranked secret, and everyone who hears about it except for ones in this room today shall be executed on the spot. Am I making myself clear? All three other people looked at each other and gulped. This is so troublesome, Shikaku groaned. All right, spill it. What happened to you today, Naruto? Said boy snapped one eye open from his meditation, and glared at Sakura in annoyance. What do you mean? What happened to me, Sakura? You know what I'm saying. The girl screeched. What's that with all the new clothes and acting cool and everything? Oh, Naruto quirked an eyebrow. Then I don't have the right to change my clothes or acting cool. Well, I didn't say that, Sakura hesitated, taken aback by Naruto's retort. Listen up, Sakura, Naruto cut her short in a sharp tone. I'm not the same Naruto you used to know. I'm sick of always being treated as a failure, a dead last, the laughingstock of everyone. Sure, I might be bad at school, alright, but the world out there isn't the same as what we learned in school. We are shinobi now. Our works include stealing, killing, or even fighting to the death. You should also change yourself as well, because when we are at the war zone, no one has the time to protect you. Sakura was stunned beyond belief. Since when had Naruto become so serious? She wanted to retort, but words seemed to choke themselves in her throat. Is what he said true? Being a shinobi is that dangerous? Naruto couldn't be serious, could he? HMPH. Even if there are dangers, Sasuke-kun will protect us. Cha! Inner Sakura screamed inside her head. Naruto stood up, and kicked the door open. Wait, where are you going? Sakura asked. Training. If this Kakashi is anything like I knew about him, then he's going to be late for at least 2 more hours. Naruto answered nonchalantly. Want to join me, Sakura, Sasuke? HN, was the answer. Naruto shrugged. Suit yourself. Wow, talk about harsh, Matabi commented when they were out of the classroom. Actually, I think a talk like that is good for her, Yuki pondered. She is nothing like the Sakura I knew in our time. If this is really how she is, I wonder how she could become such a good kunoichi. Well, she did train a lot during the time I was gone training with Arrow Sennin, to be fair, Naruto admitted. Then he changed the topic. Say, any one of you want to help me training? I could appreciate some help in getting my old skills back. With pleasure, the tailed beasts grinned inside his head. Kakashi poked his head into the room, only to meet with two annoyed faces looking back at him. I suppose you are Team 7, right? But why are there only two of you? Sakura shrugged. Naruto said he had gone training, but I bet he went to find somewhere to sleep. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. That's quite unexpected. Anyway, meet me at the rooftop in 5 minutes. Then he poofed away. When they arrived at the rooftop, they found a horrifying scene. Almost all the tiles of the rooftop were cracked or shattered to pieces. One of the water tanks was dented on a side. And lying in the middle of the destroyed roof was Naruto and two of his shadow clones, with their faces full of bruises. Wow, so he wasn't kidding when he said he would go training, Sakura muttered. Kakashi found the scene of destruction in front of him amusing. You are Naruto, right? Training is good, but next time you should do it in the training ground. You do realize that you have to pay for this damage, do you? Naruto lifted his head up when his two shadow clones poofed out of existence. Ow, my head. Guess I overdid it a little bit. Oh, you must be Kakashi-sensei, right? The Cyclops gave him an eye smile. Yup. Now, let's get to the introduction part. Any one of you want to go first? Introduction. What do you mean? Sakura asked, and everyone on the rooftop, including the 9-tailed beasts, had to refrain from rolling their eyes. This is your kunoichi of the year. Matabi asked in disbelief. Trust me, she will be much worse, Kurama deadpanned. Hey, that's kind of mean, Naruto defended her. All the beasts snorted. Well, your name, your likes, dislikes, your dreams for the future and things like that, Kakashi explained. Why don't you go first, sensei? You look kinda suspicious, said Sakura warily. About me, Kakashi pondered for a while. Well, my name is Kakashi Hatake. I have no desire to tell you my likes and dislikes. My dreams, and I have lots of hobbies. Yeah, very helpful, sensei, Naruto snarked. Sakura and Sasuke nodded in agreement. Oh, then how about you going next, Blondie? The Jonin quirked his visible eyebrow. Sure, whatever, Naruto shrugged. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like ramen, my friends, and the people who cares about me. I dislike liars, traitors and people who want to use my friends to gain power. My dream is to become stronger to protect my friends, and create a peaceful world. Ah, you're so sweet, Naru-kun. Naruto cringed. Seriously, you have to stop that, Chome-chan. It's creepy. Ah, the beetle pouted. Kakashi's eyes widened a bit. This boy was nothing like the Naruto he had known during his time in Anbu. That Naruto was loud, annoying, a knucklehead who always wanted people to notice him. This one was calm and collected. He wondered what could have changed the boy so much. And he mentioned his friends. Kakashi didn't know who they were, but he had a disturbing feeling about that word. He had to mention it to the Hokage some days. You next, Broody, he looked at Sasuke. The Uchiha glared back at him. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I hate lots of things. I don't like anything. My ambition is to resurrect my clan and to kill a certain man. I don't like him, Oni-chan, Saikyo said quietly. No wonder he is such an emo. Obsession with revenge cannot be good for one's health. Matabi remarked. Yeah, wondered if this time I can find some way to talk him out of it. As I thought, an avenger. Kakashi narrowed his eyes. This is gonna be trouble if he keeps that attitude. Your turn, Pinky. My name is Haruno Sakura. The thing I like is, she glanced at Sasuke and squealed. My dream for the future, she giggled while blushing. My hobby is, she winked at Sasuke, who, Haned. What I hate is Naruto, she finished in a disgusted voice. Ah, I love you too, Sakura-chan, Naruto said sarcastically, which earned him another gag of disgust from Sakura. So basically, she liked Sasuke, her dream for the future is to get into his pants, and her hobby is stalking him. Kakashi thought, girls these days are more interested in love than in ninjutsu. Very well, so we all know each other now, Kakashi said. All three genin rolled their eyes. Tomorrow we'll start with our shinobi duties. But first, we are going to do something with just the four of us. A survival training. This is it. The bell test. Naruto's mind wandered back to the time he got the test before. But why is our first duty a training, sensei? We've had enough training at the academy. Sakura protested. Even Sasuke snorted in disapproval. Because this training is nothing like what you've ever done before. Kakashi answered. His visible eye seemed to drill into the three genins' heads. They gulped. Yes, even Naruto. This survival training is also a test to select the ones who are truly suitable of becoming genin, Kakashi continued. Of the 27 graduated candidates, only 9 shall be chosen to become genin, and the rest shall be sent back to the academy. This training is a very difficult exam with a failure rate of over 66%. Sakura paled. Sasuke didn't show any clear emotion, but beads of sweat could be seen clearly on his temples. Naruto, having known about this before, just sat there in silence. The details are on this paper. Kakashi pulled some leaflets out of his shuriken pouch and gave the three genin. Anyway, we'll start at 6 tomorrow at training ground 7. And don't eat breakfast, you'll just throw up. Then he flickered away, leaving the three genin on the roof. So tomorrow is the bell test. This time I'll show Kakashi-sensei I'm not a useless dead last anymore. Yeah, you will, but what are you going to do with the mess you made here? Naruto looked at the almost destroyed rooftop, and groaned. Definition. EX rank. The highest in the ranking system, surpassing even the S rank that cage-level shinobis hold. It defines something that cannot be estimated through ranks alone. In the whole history of the elemental country, there is only one person that can be considered an EX rank shinobi, the Sage of Sixth Path. An EX rank secret is considered a secret that cannot be exposed to anyone, except for the people who was told of it before it is declared EX rank. The people who know the secret shall be forced to sign a blood oath, an invention of the first Hokage. From those people, one will be chosen as a secret keeper, and only that person has the right to reveal the secret to other people. Others who reveal the secret to anyone else, intentionally or forced, will die immediately before the secret is exposed, and their bodies, including the brain, will be destroyed automatically. Chapter 4. The Bell Test. Once more, Naruto arrived at training ground 7 at 8, only to find Sakura and Sasuke, whose faces looked like zombies, glaring at him. Where the heck have you been, you idiot? Sakura growled. Ichiraku's, of course, Naruto answered. You don't expect me to go to war with an empty stomach, do you? Kakashi-sensei told us not to have breakfast. She screeched. And we're not going to war, this is just a training session. Well, the no breakfast part was not mentioned in the leaflet he gave us, right? Naruto shrugged. Besides, he said this training was a test. I don't know about you, but I need my body at the top level before taking any test. Hearing that, Sakura didn't ask any more. She just sat down and rubbed her growling stomach, trying her best to calm it down. Here, she raised her head and widened her eyes when she saw a meat bun in front of her face. Eat up. I don't have much money, so I could only buy these. It's not much, but still better than an empty stomach, right? Naruto grinned while throwing another one to Sasuke. You didn't have breakfast too, did you? Eat up. Sasuke scowled. I don't need your pity. Oh come on, this is not the time for empty pride, Naruto snorted. If Kakashi-sensei is anything like I've heard about him, then we must throw everything we have at him if we want to have a chance against him. Those words finally got Sasuke's attention. What do you know about him? He demanded. Well, Naruto started. Kakashi-sensei was well known all over the elemental countries as Kakashi of the Sharingan. Due to the fact that he has a Sharingan hidden under his Hitai-8, Sasuke's body stiffened against this information, and he had used it to copy over 1,000 jutsu of his enemies. He is one of the very famous shinobi who brought victory to the Leaf in the Third Great Shinobi World War, together with the fourth Hokage himself. No way, Sakura gasped. Our sensei is that strong. But how did he have the Sharingan? He's not an Uchiha, Sasuke questioned. Dunno, Naruto shrugged. He felt that it's better not to tell Sasuke about Obito yet. But we can already tell that Kakashi-sensei is not someone we can afford to underestimate. Sasuke didn't say anything for a while. Then, he grabbed the bun and devoured it in one gulp. Sorry guys, I got lost on the road of life. Naruto deadpanned when his teacher arrived at the training ground at 9. You know, that was the lamest excuse I've ever heard in my life, sensei. And by that, he meant, still the lamest excuse. As that's so, Kakashi raised his visible eyebrow. Then I promise next time you won't hear it anymore. You're not gonna be late again? Sakura asked hopefully. No, I'll make a different excuse, the Cyclops Eye smiled. The three genin groaned. You have until noon to take these bells from me, Kakashi started while pulling out an alarm clock and 2 small bells. Those who cannot get a bell by noon get no lunch, and will be tied to one of those stumps while I and your teammates eat right in front of you. And the one who doesn't have a bell fails, and will be sent back to the academy. But sensei, in the pamphlet you said that we're allowed to use weapons. Isn't that dangerous? Sakura asked. Oh, you won't be able to touch me if you don't come at me with intent to kill, the Jonin waved her off. Now, start when I say. With a flick of his hand, 5 shuriken flew from Naruto's place towards Kakashi. Then without any pause, Naruto pulled a kunai out from his shuriken pouch. Only for his arm to be bent around, the point of the kunai aimed at his neck. Hasty, the voice of Kakashi rose behind him. I haven't said, start, yet. Too fast, Sasuke and Sakura couldn't help sharing the same thought. I can't even see him moving. Just like old time, Naruto grinned. You'd better look at your back, sensei. The tip of another kunai touched the back of Kakashi's flak jacket. You used the shuriken as a distraction not only to pull out a kunai, but also to create a shadow clone to ambush me, Kakashi said with an eye smile. Pretty clever, I must say. Well then, now it's time to start. He burst into smoke, and the genin leapt away from the clearing. I don't understand what you're thinking anymore, Naruto. Oh, chill out, Kurama. It's been a long time since I last challenged Kakashi-sensei. Besides, Sakura and Sasuke need a little time to figure out the meaning of the test, right? Then why don't you just tell them already? The vixen asked. Naruto grinned. Because it's no fun. Kurama face pawed. Hey Kakashi-sensei, I challenge you. Kakashi lifted his eye from his Ika paradise. Well, aren't you a little bit off? Naruto didn't say anything. He lowered his body into his taijutsu stance. Oh. Flashback. Ow, how did you even do that? Naruto screamed, holding his bruised left eye after receiving a vicious punch from Goku. Your problem lies on your fighting stance, Naruto. The ape in his human form answered, surprisingly calmly comparing to his usual loud voice. Your battle style is just like that of a brawler, only consists of attacking blindly while leaving you with a lot of dangerous openings and no way to defend yourself if your opponent counterattacks. But I've defeated many powerful enemies with that style. Naruto protested with a pout. And you were nearly dead in most of the cases, Kurama chided from inside his head. Do I need to list them out? Having your body impaled by hundreds of ice needles, letting a fourth of your tenketsu sealed, your heart being damaged to the point that even I and that Tsunade lady together almost failed to repair. All right, I get it, Naruto growled in frustration. So what can I do now? It's not like I have the time to think of a new style. Goku scratched his cheek. I don't think I can teach you a completely new style in only one day, but I think you can try this. End flashback. Oh. With a kick to the ground, Naruto launched himself towards Kakashi like a bullet. He threw a flurry of punches and kicks at Kakashi, but the Jonin blocked every hit with only one hand. He was fast, but attacking recklessly like this won't do him any good. Damn it, Naruto thought when breaking away from Kakashi. He's too good. Remember Naruto, Kakashi was not a Jonin in name only. Kurama said. You're lucky he didn't just punch your head off, Goku dryly noted. Right, attacking directly is out of the question, time to try some new thing. He threw another quick punch at Kakashi's chest, only for the Jonin to stop it with his empty hand easily. Is that all you got? How disappointing. Poor Kakashi. He didn't take his eye off his Ika paradise, so he couldn't expect Naruto to quickly grab hold of his wrist mid-punch. What the? With a loud cry, Naruto pulled the restrained arm towards him and elbowed Kakashi on the stomach. With his other hand holding his precious Ika, Kakashi couldn't do anything to block the incoming attack in point-blank range. The hit almost knocked the air out of Kakashi's lungs. Hey, it worked. I told you. The sudden attack also proved to be quite a distraction as a shadow clone of Naruto rushed in from behind and tried to grab the bells on his belt. Damn. With a quick spin, Kakashi kicked the clone, making it dispersed and threw the real Naruto away a few feet. The genin landed on his feet, and grinned. How's that, sensei? So shocked you cannot even speak a word. He turned my strong point into a weak point, and exploited it so well he could land a hit on me while using it as a distraction, Kakashi thought. Reckless, but quite effective. Naruto really is full of surprises. I'm surprised. I must admit, I've underestimated you, Kakashi said, snapping his book closed. It seems I can't keep reading Ika while fighting you. And he put the book back into his shuriken pouch. Finally decided to play seriously, huh? Then let's see how good you really are, sensei. Kicking the ground again, Naruto once more closed the distance between them and launched another punch at Kakashi. The older man immediately caught it, and also blocked the other punch aiming at him from the left. One trick won't work twice, Naruto. Oh yeah, then how about this? Locking Kakashi's hands with his own, Naruto focused chakra to his feet and released it, using the force to flip over Kakashi's head like jumping from a spring. On the air, he spun, and delivered a rolling kick to the Jonin's head. Still haven't quite got it yet, but this is enough. You're going down. Slam. The Kakashi in front of him exploded into splinter. What the? Substitution. Shinobi lesson number 1. Taijutsu. Huh. Naruto turned his head, and saw Kakashi behind him, his eye gleaming. Hidden Leaf Secret Taijutsu. 1000 Years of Death. Being on the air, Naruto had no way to avoid the deadly fingers of the Cyclops aiming at his ass, and was propelled into the stream nearby. Just like old time. DAAAAAAMMMMMMNNNNNEITTTTTTTTT. And that's a lesson for you, Goku choked out while everyone in Naruto's head were busy laughing their asses off. Never use an airborne attack when you cannot make sure you get a hit. All those time, and I still get struck by that stupid technique, Naruto growled. But I'm not done yet. 3 shuriken flew out of the water aiming at Kakashi, but he only tilted his head lazily to the side, and the 3 throwing stars only struck the tree behind him. With a battle cry, Naruto burst out of the water. You think I'm out of trick yet? Think again. Naruto rushed towards his teacher, and aimed a low sweep at his leg. Take this. I said it won't work. Kakashi chided him while jumping up to avoid the kick. But Naruto just smiled. Gotcha. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 2 clones appeared on the air. One launched a punch at Kakashi's midriff and the other aimed a kick at his head. Naruto smirked. Ha, on the air you cannot evade. I've learned that from you. I cannot evade, but I can strike back. Kakashi answered calmly, kicked the 2 clones away and sent himself backward a bit. Unfortunately, he didn't see the faint smirk on Naruto's face. Kakashi was suddenly grabbed from behind by 3 pairs of arms. One grabbed his back, one restrained his arms, and one locked his legs. No way, Kakashi, visible eye widened in horror, the shuriken from before, they're shadow clones. The bells are mine, Naruto shouted triumphantly, leaping at the Jonin who was now bound helplessly to the ground by his 3 clones. Only to crash into a log, proof of Kakashi's substitution. Oh man, substitution again, no fair. There was no sign of Kakashi on the clearing anymore. Sakura was speechless. No way, how can Naruto be so good? He almost got Kakashi-sensei. Looking for someone, Sakura. The girl screamed and jumped back when the voice of Kakashi rose next to her ears. Shinobi lesson number 2, Genjutsu. And the man faded away in a storm of cherry blossom petals. After a minute, Sakura's mouth foamed, and she fainted. Okay, that was anticlimactic. Sasuke was angry. Naruto, the loser, had fought Kakashi Hatake, their Jonin-sensei, the man who was known as Kakashi of the Sharingan, according to him, to a standstill. Somehow, that dead last even seemed to have forced the Jonin to run away. Since when had that loser become so strong? Then maybe, that Kakashi might not even be as strong as Naruto had said. If that dead last could hold his own against the Jonin, there's no way himself, the Rookie of the Year, and Uchiha, couldn't do it. He jumped down from the tree he was hiding, facing Kakashi on the clearing. So the mighty Uchiha finally came down to face me, Kakashi drawled. Such an honor. You're weak, Sasuke snidely remarked. Couldn't even beat a dead last like Naruto. Oh, but can you do anything better than him? Kakashi eyes smiled. The question seemed to touch Sasuke's ego. He snarled. I'm nothing like those losers. You can only say that after you get the bell. Kakashi said. The bells on his belt rang as if taunting Sasuke. Without another word, Sasuke sent 3 shuriken at Kakashi. And just like with Naruto, the Jonin easily sidestepped the projectile weapons. The shuriken flew past the Jonin, cutting the rope hidden behind him, and a bunch of knives were launched in the direction of the older man. Hidden trap. Good idea, but not enough. Kakashi jumped aside, and the knives lodged themselves on the bark of a tree behind him. Sasuke took the cue and jumped towards the retreating man, and delivered a kick on Kakashi's head. The Jonin blocked the kick easily with his arm. You know, Naruto did try this, and failed. Don't compare me to that dead last. Sasuke yelled, and using Kakashi's blocking arm as a mount, he spun and delivered an axe kick towards Kakashi's face, upside down. The bells were right in front of him. He lashed out his hand, trying to grab them. Only for Kakashi to grab his extending arm and throw him away like a ragdoll. Sasuke's back slammed into a tree. He grunted in pain, struggling to get up. Damn it, it seems the last Uchiha is not as powerful as rumored, Kakashi taunted, and Sasuke snapped. Weaving his hands through familiar hand signs, he performed the jutsu the Uchiha clan was famous for. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. A huge ball of fire blasted out of his mouth, aiming at Kakashi, who seemed to be too shocked that a genin could perform such a chakra-wasting technique to avoid it. Sasuke smirked when the raging inferno engulfed the Jonin. The flame died down, leaving nothing. Not a charred corpse, not a burning flak jacket, not a Jonin rolling around in flame, nothing. He's gone, but where? Shinobi lesson number 3, ninjutsu. Sasuke couldn't even turn his head around when a pair of hands grabbed his legs and pulled him underground. Well, the last Uchiha really was head above the others, Kakashi said sarcastically, walking away. Damn it, the difference in power was too much. Sasuke gritted his teeth while glaring at the Jonin's back, which was getting farther and farther away. Hey, Sakura, wake up. Sakura groggily opened her eyes, and saw Naruto kneeling right above her face. She screamed and punched the boy on the chest, making him stumble back a bit. Wahaha, what the hell did you do, you pervert? She demanded, her finger pointed shakily at Naruto, who was now wincing and rubbing his chest. Just want to wake you up, princess. There's only 1 hour left until the deadline. Sakura's eyes widened. 1 hour left. There's no way she could get a bell from Kakashi-sensei with only that amount of time. It meant she would be sent back to the academy, and she wouldn't be with her Sasuke-kun anymore. Then what? What can I do? She stammered, tears started welling up in the corner of her eyes. We'll think about it later. I have some suspicion, but it will have to wait until we dig Sasuke up. I said I don't need your pity. Sasuke scowled again when Sakura and Naruto finally dug him up from his burial hole. Will you just spare me your dramatic brooding, Sasuke? Naruto snapped. If you don't pull that huge stick out of your ass soon, it will someday get you killed, maybe even before your so-called ambition comes true. It's not a so-called ambition. Sasuke protested angrily. Naruto ignored him. You said that you have some suspicion about the test, right, Naruto? Sakura asked. Since Naruto gave her the donut in the morning, she had felt a new strain of respect towards the blonde boy. Well, I don't know if it's true, but I suspect the true meaning of this test is not whether we get a bell or not. Naruto stated, while scratching his cheek. Both Sakura and Sasuke's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? Kakashi-sensei said that we need to get the bells from him, asked Sakura. And how in the world can we do it? Naruto asked back. We're all newly graduated genin. Our skill and experience in combat is nothing compared to a jonin like him. This makes no sense at all. They'd never set a task that didn't have a solution. I nearly got it last time, Sasuke denied stubbornly. The next time I'll get it for sure. Like that's gonna happen, Naruto snorted. Did you realize that during your fight Kakashi-sensei almost didn't use any damaging move? Sasuke's eyes widened. He gritted his teeth, and nodded reluctantly. But you almost got the bell too, Sakura blinked. Naruto shook his head. That's only because I caught him off guard with my shadow clone jutsu. I'm sure if I didn't know the jutsu, I would suffer even worse than Sasuke. And he won't fall for that trick again. Wait a second, Sakura said slowly. Maybe you're right. Maybe each of us does not stand a chance against him, but if we work together, just like you did with your clones, we can catch him off guard. Then she frowned. But that can't be right. There are only 2 bells, unless Sensei wants to trick us into believing that we have to fight each other. Took her long enough to realize it, said Chome snarkily in Naruto's head. Silence filled the air as everyone, no, Sasuke and Sakura digested this. Finally, it was Sasuke who commented. That does make some sense. But even if we work together, there is little chance that we'll be able to overpower him. Even Naruto couldn't do it with his clones before. We need a clear and thorough plan for it to work. Naruto sighed in relief. He had thought Sasuke would be too stubborn to listen to any of his words. He smiled. Yeah, and to do that, I think we should know what each of us can do. Right now what I can do is taijutsu and shadow clone. What about you, Sakura? Well, Sakura scratched her cheek. I can do the 3 basic academy jutsu quite well. My taijutsu was adequate, and I can use some simple genjutsu too, but cannot maintain them for a long time. And I have to touch him for the genjutsu to work. I still cannot cast them effectively from afar. And you have your monstrous punches, Naruto added helpfully. What did you say? Sakura screeched hysterically, and threw another punch at him. Naruto ducked, and the fist hit the tree behind him, making the bark flying everywhere. Her eyes widened. See, Naruto gave her a foxy grin. I wasn't kidding, Sakura grumbled unhappily. And I'm good at taijutsu, shuriken jutsu and some fire-style ninjutsu, Sasuke concluded. Very well, I got a plan. Prepare to hand over the bells, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi lifted his eyes off his book. You again, haven't you learned anything since the last time? It will be different. Naruto grinned confidently, his index finger pointing at Kakashi. This time we got a plan that will surely take you down. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Kakashi thought when the Naruto clones charged him and unleashed a relentless barrage of punches and kicks. Just like before, Kakashi easily blocked all the attacks, but there was something that didn't seem right. Naruto's attack was different from before, reckless and full of opening. Could it be fire style? Phoenix Flower Jutsu. A blizzard of fireballs appeared in the sky above the Jonin and rained down his head, intending to set the whole clearing on fire. Kakashi's visible eye narrowed. So Naruto did convince Sasuke to work with him. Kakashi spun, kicking all the Naruto clones away, and he flashed through a series of hand signs. Wind style. Great breakthrough. The wind technique blew the fireballs away, revealing a rain of kunai and shuriken hidden inside the fireballs. Shit. Pulling out a kunai himself, Kakashi quickly deflected the deadly weapons falling down at him. In about 5 seconds, the clearing was littered with shuriken and kunai. Wasting no time, Naruto rushed in with his clones, and started attacking Kakashi with his own taijutsu again. I told you, this will not work, Kakashi stated when fending off the relentless attack of the boy. We don't need it to work, Naruto grinned, because we already won. The punches of Naruto and the clones suddenly turned to grapples, locking Kakashi's hands in place. Just like before. Then I will just repeat what I did. Kakashi silently melded his chakra, readying himself for a kawarimi. Only for a bone-shattering punch to land on his back. Kakashi's eye widened. He was pushed into the weapon field at what moment he couldn't know, and Sakura was right next to him, her fist cocking back. What the? Shanaru. With her favorite battle cry, Sakura launched another devastating punch at Kakashi's exposing back. At the same time, her free hand reached out at the bells on his belt. Using substitution to switch with a shuriken on the field and trying to grab the bells when the boys distract me with their jutsu, Kakashi chuckled under his mask. They actually figured it out. This team has great potential, if they are able to pass. Kakashi spun, and used the momentum to throw Naruto at Sakura. The blonde boy slammed hard into the poor girl and fell on the ground. Kakashi glanced at his belt. The bells were still there. Good. Right on cue, the ringing from the bell on the alarm clock echoed through the field. Well, what do you know, Kakashi said in amusement. Time's up. And you three didn't get any bell. Who said we didn't get any bell, sensei? The voice of Sakura rose from the human pile. She pushed himself up, and lifted her hand. She was holding 2 bells. What the? When did you? Kakashi looked down in panic. The bells, which were both on his belt just a few seconds before, had gone. Right at the time Sakura's punch connected with your back, she put you in a simple genjutsu to trick you into seeing the bells still being on your belt. Sasuke, who was walking out from his hiding place in the woods nearby, explained with a smirk. And she only had to swipe the real ones from there when you were still thinking that you got us. Very good Sakura, you got the bells, Kakashi sighed in defeat. And I must say, the teamwork of you three during that last attack was, by far, one of the most impressive I've ever seen in a genin team. You even landed a clean hit on me, which no team had ever managed to do before. But now you have 2 bells, Sakura, so which of your teammates will you choose to pass with you? Hell yeah, of course I will choose. But Sakura faltered when she looked at Naruto. She hated to admit it, but during this test, the one who did the most was Naruto. He was the one who gave both of them their missed breakfast in the morning. He was the one who faced Kakashi-sensei first. And without Naruto, they could never have figured out the true meaning of the test. If there was anyone who deserved to pass the test the most, it would surely be Naruto. Meanwhile, the only thing she managed to do was fainting. If she and Sasuke passed the test and Naruto didn't, it would not be fair for him. But if Naruto passed, it would mean either her or Sasuke failed. Sakura's hand trembled on the thought. She couldn't decide it. Of course she couldn't let her Sasuke-kun failed. But she didn't want Naruto to fail, either. Should she just be a heartless ungrateful bitch and kick Naruto out of the team, or abandon her dream and let Naruto and Sasuke fulfill theirs? If you cannot decide, then I will. Sakura jerked when Naruto plucked the 2 bells out of her hand. Hey, she protested. Naruto split the bells, and threw each of them to Sakura and Sasuke, shocking all the other 3 people in the training ground. Now each of you has a bell. Guess I'll go back to the academy, then. But, why? Sakura stammered in shock. She couldn't understand why the blonde did that. Naruto gave her his trademark foxy grin. Well, I have failed the graduation exam 3 times, so I guess a 4th time would not be that bad. And who knows, maybe this time I can even be Rookie of the Year with my shadow clone jutsu. Guilt twisted Sakura's stomach. Naruto was giving himself up just for her and Sasuke to pass. Images of the times she did horrible things to him flashed through her mind. Then I will go back to the academy too. Huh, Naruto blinked. During the test I couldn't do anything but fainting, and without you I could never figure out the trick of the test. Sakura inhaled sharply and continued. If there is anyone who doesn't deserve to pass this test, it is me. Silence filled the air again. And finally, Sasuke said. If it comes to that, then it means I shall go back too, right? There cannot be a team with only 1 member. Kakashi couldn't help but smiled under his mask. He managed to change both Sakura and Sasuke in such a short time. You really are the most surprising shinobi of the leaf, Naruto. So that's it, huh? Naruto stretched his back, and yawned. Well then, do you guys want to go to Ichiraku's with me? This time I'll treat. Really? Sakura chided him. As the only food you know in this world ramen, Naruto. Hey, it's delicious. Naruto defended his favorite cuisine. Sasuke just, Haned, where do you think you're going? The voice of Kakashi suddenly rose behind them. I haven't announced the result of the test yet. The 3 genin stopped on their trail. I hereby announce Team 7, passed the test. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as well as checking out the author on fanfiction.net.